we present great stories from around the globe by some of the world's favorite writers in Springbok Library of the Air.
Faster. You can do it. You can do it, girl. Come on, we're almost there. Faster. Faster, Midnight. Now. Now. Ha ha. I beat you, Handsacker, just as I said I would.
Yes, you beat me, Tribble.
You owe me $10.
Yes, you'll have your winnings.
What did you have to give for that mare you're riding, huh? A deal more than old Midnight cost me, I'll wager.
Well, she's very valuable to me. That's why I reined in.
You reined in? When?
When you overtook me.
You're talking like a poor loser, Handsacker.
I reined her in rather than do her harm.
Harm? Don't make me laugh. You rode as fast as you could ride, but Midnight and I were faster, and I am considerably lighter than you are.
Well, I wouldn't punish horse flesh the way you do, Tribble. Here's your $10.
Ah, very good, Mr. Handsacker.
Well, you laughed. Does winning $10 please you so much?
No, I was just thinking of the situation, that's all.
Huh? What situation?
Why, the difference between you and me. You, a rich and important man, powerful, influential, and me, your tenant, your serf, a poor widower, scratching to make his living by keeping your books and a few other people's books and never turning away a penny's worth of extra work if I can make it.
And you find that amusing?
What I find amusing, Mr. Handsacker, is that although our fortunes are far apart, we seem to share the same vices.
What vices?
What vices? You forget. I keep your accounts. I know what goes in and what goes out. I know how you spend every dollar. Oh, I'm the soul of discretion, you understand. But nevertheless, it's amusing to me to know that you are as much a prisoner of your vice as I am. Oh, well, let's leave it at that.
I have given you my complete trust, Tribble.
Of course, and I honor that trust. Betrayal is not one of my vices. No, sir. I'm proud to say that Jacob Tribble is as good as his word. All I say to you is, you are compelled to gamble. You will wager on anything. So will I. But then I'm only a humble private bookkeeper. But you, Mr. Handsacker, you own the bank, and you're gambling with funds which do not belong to you.
Daddy? Daddy, I know I'm not to interrupt.
Well, that's right, Katie, my dear. Not while I'm trying to finish my accounts. One little mistake in my arithmetic, and I...
But, Daddy, I've just been out feeding Midnight, and there's something wrong with her. Well, her breathing is strange, and she seems to be bloated.
Oh.
Daddy, did you run her this afternoon?
Run her? Oh, I may have let her have her head a little.
And the water trough was empty. Well, she's acting as if she'd been run too much and then took too much water.
Oh, she'll be all right. Now, let me get back to my figures.
Yes, Daddy.
Oh, by the way, Kate, my dear, come here.
Yes?
Look here what I have for you. Do you think you can put this to good use at the Emporium? For a new dress and some ribbon and such as that?
$10? Daddy, where did you get it? Oh, can we afford it?
Yes, we can afford it. Now, you take it for being such a sweet girl.
But so much. Well, where did it come from?
Why, from a grateful client. A little bonus, as you might say.
Oh, you must be a wonderful bookkeeper. I know you are.
Yes, well, you take this down to the Emporium tomorrow and see what it'll buy.
Oh, Daddy, thank you.
You're welcome, Katie. Now, why don't you let me see if I can finish these books tonight for Mr. Handsacker.
Mr. Handsacker. Is he very rich?
Is he very rich? Well, if you add up all the mortgages he owns, including ours, and all the interest being paid to him, not counting what he takes out of his banking business, you might say that Mr. Handsacker owns this town, and about half the people in it.
Ugh, he's so fat and ugly. What kind of a man is he?
What kind? Mr. Micah Handsacker is no more saintly than any of the rest of us, and probably no more of a sinner either, for that matter. The chief difference with Mr. Handsacker is he is able to enjoy the luxury of deciding what to do with his money. Most men don't have that luxury. Every penny we can earn is committed, but the rich have options.
Oh, I'll see who it is.
One of your beaux, I'll bet you.
Oh, Daddy.
Good evening, Kate.
Daniel MacArthur.
I'm sorry to be calling so late, but I was riding past on the way from seeing a patient, and I...
A patient? A horse or a dog?
Well, it was a pony, actually. A birthday gift to a young man who wasn't taught how to care for it, I'm sorry to say.
Oh. Oh, how wonderful that you're here.
Who is it, Kate?
Dr. MacArthur, Daddy. Oh, he's doing his books.
You said it was wonderful that I'm here?
Oh, yes, because there's something wrong with Midnight.
Your mayor? Where is she? I'll see her right now. And that's about the best I can do for her tonight, Mr. Tribble.
Well, you're kind to spend so much time with the old girl, Doctor. Only I have a feeling it's not the veterinarian that's so devoted.
Sir?
Well, that horse doesn't require bedside nursing. Could it be there's another attraction hereabouts?
Daddy.
Well,
Well, you're perfectly right, Mr. Tribble. It's purely a joy for me to be here because of Kate. You have a wonderful daughter, sir. You must be very proud of her.
well, that I am, my friend, that I am. And I aim to keep her around for a few more years.
Daddy?
I don't blame you in the least, sir. No, not in the least.
You see, Dr. MacArthur, I'm a widower. Katie's mother passed on 4 years ago this summer, and, well, Kate and I sort of comfort each other. She's the cook, and I try to be both mother and father to her.
Of course.
We need each other, is what it comes down to.
I understand that.
Daddy, for heaven's sake, he didn't ask for my hand. Why, Daniel and I are just friends. Isn't that right, Daniel?
Just friends? Yes, Kate. I'll be whatever you want me to be.
There, you see, a level-headed young man in a vital and respected profession. A good friend to have. But just a friend, for now. Correct, my dear?
Come in.
It's me.
Oh, Tribble. Yes, here, I'll take the books.
Everything's in order.
Well, that's fine.
Well, I'll be going.
You look tired, Tribble. It's only 10:30 in the morning.
Well, I worked on your books until late last night, and I walked to town this morning.
Oh? You didn't ride midnight?
She's got something the matter with her.
Yes, I expect she has. Look, sit down here, Tribble. Tribble, I'm disturbed at a remark you made to me yesterday.
What was that?
About my gambling with funds, other people's funds. That is slander, Tribble.
I didn't mean anything by
It's a
it.
terrible thing to say. My banking affairs are completely separate from my personal affairs, and funds I may use for speculation, wagering, or my own. Is that clear?
Yes, sir, but I didn't mean anything by it.
All the same, I've been doing some serious thinking, Tribble. I've decided to relieve you of the responsibility of doing my accounts.
You...
It appears that you have taken a personal interest in how I spend my personal funds. And I cannot tolerate that. What I spend for my own recreation is nobody's business but my own.
But you ran it through your books, sir, as a loan.
What difference does it make? It makes no difference to you. Not anymore. I shan't require your services after today, Tribble.
I see. All right.
Oh, and there is one other thing. A matter of bank business, Mr. Tribble. You were 2 months in arrears on your mortgage payment.
Why, I've been 2 months behind for over a year now. You've always been willing to carry me.
But no more, Tribble. No more. The bank is obligated to carry out sound business practices. I'm afraid if your payments are not brought up to date immediately, the bank will have no choice but to foreclose.
Now, wait a minute. This can't be. Why, yesterday afternoon we were racing our horses together, betting together, and now...
And now our positions are once again clear. You are the debtor. I am the creditor.
But you're cutting me out. How can I pay the back payments when you cut me out?
How indeed?
Now, wait. You're a sporting man, Hunsaker. Suppose we say double or nothing. A cut of the cards. I'll either owe you twice the value of the mortgage payments or I'll owe you nothing.
And what good would it do me to have you owe double what you owe now? You can't repay me as it is.
But there must be something of mine that you'd take.
Yes, perhaps there is.
All right, name it. It's yours.
But it isn't yours to give.
What are you talking about?
Oh, nothing, Tribble, nothing. I'll think on it a while. Then I'll come and see you. In the meantime, we'll let things stand as they are.
Then the books and the mortgage?
You will continue to do my accounts, and I shall continue carrying your mortgage until we come to terms.
Maybe he's really had a change of heart.
Hunsaker, a change of heart? He doesn't own a heart, Katie. And all his money can't buy one.
Well, what do you think he'll ask of you?
I can't imagine. This old place is worthless. We don't have a fortune. We don't even have good land enough to farm here.
Oh, why must he torment us so?
Oh, well, it's my problem, not yours, my dear.
Oh,
Maybe it's young MacArthur.
yes, maybe it is. I'll go.
Well, good day, Miss Tribble.
Mr. Hunsaker.
I've come to see your father, if he's in.
Yes, he's in. Come inside.
Thank you. Ah, Tribble.
So, you've come.
Yes.
You know my daughter, Kate.
Oh, yes, indeed. I've seen her many times. Watched her grow up, as a matter of fact. When I first saw you, young lady, you were no higher than your father's belt. You've grown some. How old would you be now? Oh, excuse me. Not a very gentlemanly thing to ask of a young lady now, is it?
She's 19. Can I get you anything, Mr. Hunsaker? Katie, haven't we a drop of sherry in that old bottle?
No. I won't be needing anything to drink, thank you. I took care of that proposition before coming to your door.
I think I have chores to finish, if you'll excuse me.
Go ahead, Katie.
May I take a chair, Tribble?
What? Oh, yes, certainly. I'm sorry.
Well, aren't you going to sit down?
Huh? Oh, yes, of course.
Good.
Hunsaker, you've made this past week a living hell.
I have?
Yes. Not knowing whether we'll be evicted, not knowing what you may have in mind.
Well, now, it has taken me some time to deliberate on the questions, Tribble. Yes, I've had to cogitate, to weigh the situation carefully. Owing to your recklessness with money, you may be expected never to acquire anything of value that might be taken in trade for what is owed me.
I suppose you're right.
And yet, the debt must be paid.
Oh, of course. The debt must be paid. Never mind that you're rolling in wealth while I have barely 2 coppers to rub together at the end of a month. Yet you and your kind get richer while I and my kind get poorer by keeping you rich.
Tut now, Tribble. You make the common error all poor people make. You somehow think that to have sufficient means is to have no further needs. But I assure you that even a man in comfortable financial circumstances still must live. Still must seek satisfactions that, well, money cannot buy. Which, by the way, brings me to my proposition.
Yes? And what is it?
I propose, Jacob Tribble, to offer you a way to settle your long-standing indebtedness. A sporting way. A way which will appeal to your spirit of adventure. Do you have a deck of playing cards?
Why, yes.
Will you get them and put them here on this table, please?
Here, they're in this drawer.
Good.
Here you are, right here.
All right, very well. Now, the other day you proposed settling your debt with a cut of the cards. Now, I am agreeable to that proposition now, but with slightly different stakes.
Yes, go on.
You will cut the deck, conceal the card that lies on the bottom half of the deck. Then I will do the same. Then we will turn over our respective cards. Now, the holder of the higher card will win. I suggest aces high.
Yes, all right, but But what are the stakes?
If your card is the higher, I will tear up the mortgage on this property and will personally cancel all other notes held by the bank or by me personally, which you owe.
You mean...
I mean you would be out of debt, free and clear. Probably for the first time in your life.
Very generous, but what if you win?
If I turn up the higher card of the two cards, you will still be free and clear of all debts.
What? I don't understand.
Your debts will be canceled because you will have forfeited something I want very much to possess.
What? What? Now, what is it?
Your daughter.
What?
I'm a very rich man, Tribble, but a very lonely man. No woman ever chose to accept my proposals of marriage. What I propose is to make your daughter comfortable for the rest of her life as my wife.
Kate? Married to you? Man, she's only 19. You must be 55.
A very comfortable accommodation can be reached here, Tribble. Think. However you cut the cards, you cannot possibly lose. Either way, you are free of debt.
But Kate...
She will never lack for anything in this whole wide world. I know she's interested in that young veterinarian, but what can he give her? Believe me, Tribble, I'm offering you a chance to give your daughter a life of plenty. Something I doubt she could ever enjoy otherwise.
Oh, this is monstrous. I just won't do it.
Ah, but you will. And here's why. Number one, you can't resist the odds. 50-50. You may win. You have every bit as good a chance to win as I do. And number two, if you refuse my proposition, Tribble, I shall foreclose on you immediately and call in all the notes you owe. And you and your daughter will be in the street within 72 hours. Now, what do you say?
Do you care to shuffle or shall I?
Go right ahead. All right. Very well. Now, make your cut. All right. Now it's my turn. All right. Now, go ahead. Look at your card.
The 9 of diamonds.
The 9. Very well. Let's see what I have. Well. The ace. The ace of hearts. How appropriate, Tribble.
Very well. I am a man of my word. You shall have Kate as your wife. But as her father, I'm entitled to make certain conditions.
Well?
As you know, Kate will be broken-hearted.
She will get over it.
It'll take time to prepare her for the marriage, unless you wish a weeping wife.
How much time?
6 months.
6 months?
6 months from today, Kate will be yours. She must be prepared for this, Hunsaker. What's 6 months out of a lifetime?
Well, very well.
And during this time, you must not attempt to see her, to court her, or call on her.
What?
If I were you, and I mean this for your own good, I would bend every effort to lose some weight. You should attempt to look like a younger man, for her sake, as well as your own. In 6 months' time, you could do it.
Well, perhaps you're right. Very well. Let it stand. In 6 months, I shall be slim and trim and ready to claim your daughter. Well, Tribble, here I am.
I can scarcely believe my eyes. You've done it.
I weigh what a man of 25 might weigh.
And you look elegant.
A fine figure for your son-in-law, eh, Jacob?
Yes.
Well, now, where is she? It is 6 months to the day. Is she reconciled to marrying me?
Oh, yes.
Well, where is she?
In her room.
Does she know what I've done with myself?
No, I've left it as a surprise.
I can hardly wait.
Let me call her. Katie. Katie, Mr. Hunsaker's here. Come on out now. And here she is. As good as my word, Hunsinger, I present to you my only daughter, Katie Tribble, your bride.
Tribble, what have you done? What have you done to her?
What? Is that any way to speak to the girl of your dreams?
Look at her. In heaven's name, Tribble, look. Why, she's grotesque.
Now see what you've done.
What I've done? I've gone through 6 months of torture and fasting to lose 100 pounds. And all the while,
poor Katie's been so miserable she's eaten herself into a state of extreme obesity. I'm very much afraid she's gained 100 pounds.
She's a cow. A buffalo, Tribble. No one would have her. I'd be the laughing stock of the county. You tricked me.
But she's yours. Take her.
I wouldn't be seen dead with her, Tribble. Goodbye.
All right, Katie. He's gone. Now you can go back to your room and take those bed pillows off and spit out that cotton in your cheeks, and let's get on with the real wedding.
Oh, Daddy, do you mean it? Or can I tell him?
Of course you can tell him. Tell him you'll be Mrs. Daniel MacArthur as soon as you two can arrange it. But you better not let him see you like that.
Oh, Daddy. And you won't change your mind?
Kate Tribble, don't you know I am a man of my word.
Listen again next week for another unforgettable story from our Springbok Library of the Air. We present great stories from around the globe by some of the world's favorite writers in Library of the Air.
Nothing to worry about.
Sorry, Lieutenant, but when guns are fired at me, I get anxious.
Oh, you joined up to get shot at, Dobson. It's all in a day's work, you know. Of course, you chaps in military intelligence aren't so often in the firing line, eh?
I'm MI9, which deals with escape and evasion. That's not exactly a military intelligence.
All right. It all sounds the same to me.
We assist prisoners of war to escape and evade recapture. There's a big difference.
Anyway, the firing we've just experienced was harmless. Small arms from the ground. Some frustrated German patrol, I should imagine.
All the same, it's a bit unnerving flying over enemy-occupied territory in a tiny, unarmed plane like this.
Vast areas of this part of Yugoslavia are occupied by partisan groups. The Germans mostly hold the lowland towns and villages. After all, it was your people's idea that we make the flight in daylight. The Luftwaffe may be somewhat depleted, but there are still few nasty Me-109s around. Why the day trip, anyway? This kind of mission usually takes off after dark.
I thought you'd been thoroughly briefed.
Only the bare essentials.
You know the landing area?
Only by map reference.
Well, as you'll see shortly, it'll be a tight squeeze, even for a small plane like ours. There's a high cliff on one side and tall trees on the other three. Impossible to land there at night, even with guide lights.
And the purpose? Or is that classified?
It's better I keep it to myself for now, just in case we're captured and interrogated.
I see. What I don't know, I can't tell, eh?
Something like that. Will we arrive on schedule?
With 10 minutes to spare. We've had a strong tailwind since we passed over the Italian coast. Oh, damn it all.
What is it?
Trouble. Oil pressure's down.
Well, I'm not mechanically minded. What does that mean?
Simply this. I can't fly this kite for much longer. Looks like a stray bullet must have hit the engine. Of all the rotten luck, eh? Sorry, old chap, but we'll have to go down.
No, we can't. It's all hills and dense forest down there.
Beggars can't be choosers, old boy.
The single-engined Lysander spotter plane flew low over the hills of northern Yugoslavia, a country torn between fighting the German occupiers and bitter infighting between rival politically motivated groups of partisans. It was the autumn of 1944, a pause before the Allied armies in the west, east and south were due to force their way across Central Europe and into the heartland of Nazi Germany. No longer were the prisoner of war camps guarded by seasoned German troops. They'd been replaced by older conscripts. This had resulted in many escapes, particularly from camps in the Balkans, Greece and northern Italy. Many of these escapees found their way into Yugoslavia, where, in most cases, they were assisted by the partisan groups in the hills. Many of these ex-prisoners joined and fought for the rest of the war with these groups, but most wanted to reach liberated Italy and rejoin their own forces. MI9 was the British organization whose task it was to herd these ex-prisoners into large groups and guide them to numerous pickup points where they could be taken off by sea or air. The Lysander's passenger was Lieutenant Bill Dobson, and his mission was to organize the bringing to safety of at least 200 men who were gathered and awaiting rescue in a remote mountain pass in Montenegro.
Our entire mission will be ruined if we crash. It'll cost an awful lot of lives.
I don't see any way around it. Except...
Yeah, an alternative?
Look, it's probably just a fractured pipe that's causing the trouble. I could fix it in 2 shakes if we could only land and take off again.
Yes? Well, go on.
Look, I know it sounds completely mad, but a few miles south of here there's a small airfield that the Germans use for fighter planes. We could land there.
You can't possibly be serious, can you?
Well, I'm willing to take the risk if you are.
Jerry would be onto us like a swarm of hornets.
Well, perhaps not. But put yourself in their place for a tick. How fast would you react to such an event? Here we are, a small, unmarked plane lands at the upper end of the airfield, eh? Wouldn't you be curious rather than aggressive? And even if they do tumble to us quickly, how long will it take them to start the shooting?
Yeah, well, putting it like that, I suppose it is...
Well, take your choice of landing spot, the forest or the airfield.
Well, my mission is finished if we crash land. So give the airfield a bash then, but bear in mind I can't allow myself to be taken prisoner.
Oh. Actually, we'll be lucky if we make it at all. Look at the fuel gauge.
Well, keep trying. Say we do succeed in safely taking off from this airfield, what then? Didn't you mention that the Germans use it for fighter planes? Won't they come after us like the bats out of hell?
Well, that's another gamble we'll have to take. They use it mostly for making light repairs to planes damaged in action. Well, with luck, none of them will be in any condition for immediate takeoff. Another factor in our favor, these small airfields are regularly strafed by our chaps and their runways will be badly pitted by craters. Tough for them, but okay for us. Don't look so gloomy, old chap. There's a middling chance we can pull it off.
Flight Lieutenant Derek Marshall flew his plane low around a hill and into the wind. Ahead lay a single airstrip close to a small town. 2 Me-109s were parked close to the single hangar, both badly shot up and plainly unserviceable.
See the tower? Wave as we pass it. Let them think we're friendly. Confuse the blighters. That's the idea. You can almost see the whites of their eyes. Hang on tight. We're going to rattle a bit as we roll over the potholes. Hold on. Look, there's a Bren gun in the back. I hope you can use it.
Yeah, of course I can use it.
But only if they come close or start firing on us. Whatever happens, just don't get panicky. You got it?
Yes, and the 2 spare magazines. Now hurry up, will you?
Right. 2 shakes, that's all. I hope.
The pilot jumped down and wrenched open the engine cowling. It was hot, but he was wearing gloves, while slung over his shoulder was a bag of tools and the emergency repair kit. Meanwhile, at the far end of the airstrip, several dark figures had emerged from the hangar and were peering at them, hands shading the bright sunlight from their eyes. Derek Marshall had been right. Their first reaction was one of curiosity. In the passenger seat, Bill Dobson tensely sat with the Bren gun across his knees. His fingers clenched so tightly about it that his knuckles showed white. He saw two men hurry out from the control tower, guns slung over their shoulders. They went to a grey staff car, and a moment later drove out towards the grounded Lysander.
Hey, Marshal, they're coming over for a closer look.
One more shake and I'll be ready.
Well, they're armed. I'll have to cover you.
Whatever you think right. Just use your loaf.
The staff car came to within 50 meters of the plane and then pulled to a halt, the driver sensing that all was not well. The two Germans climbed out and leveled their rifles at the plane.
Where bist du?
Here we go. Well, my German isn't going to fool them. Sorry, chaps, but you're on the wrong side. Marshal, I've written two of them off. Now, will you please hurry up?
Well, switch on while I turn the prop.
All right, ready when you are.
Right, let's get the hell away from here.
I'm depending on you for that.
As the bewildered Germans opened fire on them, the Lysander bounded forward over the bumpy, scarred airstrip and lifted its nose to the sky. In moments, they were safely out of range.
Well, that's one great problem solved. Must admit, you did an admirable job.
Thanks. Now all we need is enough luck to get well clear before we get a Jerry fighter on our tail.
Those two on the ground look pretty useless.
You're right about that, Dobson, but we don't know what was in the hangar. If they do have a serviceable plane and it comes after us, we've had it.
Yeah. Hey, now you come to mention it, what's that up there? High at 10 o'clock.
Oh, damn it all. Our luck has just run out, old chap. It's a blasted Messerschmitt, and the blight has got the drop on us.
The two men stared at the approaching German fighter plane, suddenly feeling helpless and naked.
What are we going to do?
More like, what's he going to do? I'm afraid all we can do right now is sit here like human targets for the Luftwaffe.
Still quite far away. Perhaps he won't see us.
He'll know we're here, all right.
We're almost on collision course. At least you could make some attempt to get away.
What's the use? He has almost 3 times our speed. Still, I'll change course to see what happens.
Damn it all, these planes are too small. Would you think they'd equip them with some kind of armament?
Now, the War Office considers maneuverability to be more important.
Yeah. Hey, he hasn't changed course to try and intercept us. What do you make of that?
A loud sigh of relief, old chap. The blight is giving us the cold shoulder. Damn nice of him, that's all I can say.
Funny. The airfield must be in contact with him by now. Surely they'll warn him about us.
Well, maybe his radio isn't functioning. There, now you can get a better view of him. And look! See how badly he's been shot up? Yes, the last thing he's looking for is a victim, easy or otherwise. You know, more than likely he's heading for the airstrip for some emergency repairs. That's lucky for us, what?
Lucky's the word. Hey, he's gone right past us as though we don't exist.
Yes.
Well, back to business. How long before we reach our rendezvous?
Well, let's say 30 minutes from now I'll be figuring out a way to make a half-decent landing.
It was a landing place that would defy the skill of the very best pilot in normal circumstances. But Marshall knew how much was at stake and took chances he'd never normally have done. The Lysander's wing almost touched the face of the cliff as they descended towards a patch of green. The wheels settled into grass, and Dobson breathed easily as the aircraft rolled to a stop. They were in a woodland meadow, bordered by dense trees and the high cliff face. Nothing, not even a bird, moved.
Well, where's the reception party that's supposed to be meeting you here?
Well, they're a suspicious bunch I have to deal with. But I was covered from the trees just to make certain we're not some kind of a German trap.
You can't blame them for that, I suppose.
True. Well, I think we'd better get out and show ourselves.
Okay. Still acting cagey, huh?
Yes. Here's one coming out from the trees. And if you look closely, you'll see a dozen others keeping a watch on us.
Yes. He's an ugly-looking brute. Reminds me more of a bandit.
Well, many of them were before the war. Now they're called patriots and allies. Hello?
Are you American?
Don't tell me he doesn't know.
No, we're English. The code word is majestic.
Hey?
Majestic.
Majestic? What is majestic?
There's something badly wrong here. Be ready for trouble.
Right.
Are you Karl Napchek?
Napchak, that fascist pig. I am Anton Kavasik. Hey, you have never heard of Anton Kavasik, Englishman?
Yes, I've heard of you. But you're not the partisan leader in the Modovan district.
Ah, my friend, things change very quickly these days. My territory is far over there in the Alkar Valley. But my men and I have liberated the Modovan from Napchek's capitalist lapdogs.
From your textbook expressions, I presume you lead a communist group.
What is wrong with that?
Nothing, I suppose.
All partisan groups fight for the same cause, to throw the Germans out of our country. Is that not so?
Yes. Yes, of course it is.
You have brought weapons?
To be quite frank with you, no. We're here to pick up Karl Napchek, and it's urgent that we find him.
Perhaps the pig is dead. I hope so.
And I hope not.
Maybe he's alive. Who knows?
Do you?
Maybe. Maybe not.
A lot is at stake. Please be straight with me.
Why should I?
Because we're allies. We're fighting the Germans together as comrades.
But we also fight the Royalists and the Republicans. You send them arms, is that not so?
We send arms to all partisan groups to fight the German occupiers, not to fight each other.
We must think of what will happen after the Germans have left. You send the others more arms than you do to us.
Look, we are not interested in the political color of the partisan groups as long as they're anti-Nazi. Now, will you please help me to find Karl Napchek? Many lives are at stake, believe me.
Whose lives?
Escaped prisoners of war. English, French, Polish, American. Perhaps even some of your own countrymen.
And how can Napchek in particular help you?
He knows the Davak Pass and the route from there to the sea.
That is true, yes. He was born in that area.
Well, we need his knowledge to help in the rescue of 200 men who have been assembled at the pass. He's the only man we know who can guide them from there to where our ships can pick them up.
It is dangerous country for travel, my friend. A man can get lost and die in these mountains.
Napchek volunteered to be parachuted down to them. It was arranged that we would pick him up here and fly him across to Italy for briefing. Now, please tell me the truth. Is Karl Napchek alive or dead?
Alive.
Thanks heavens for that.
But he will be dead within the hour.
What do you mean?
When we overran this district, he was taken prisoner. He's shortly to be executed as an enemy of the people.
Say, hold on, will you, please? There are too many lives at stake for you to be able to indulge in a revenge killing.
We do not kill for revenge, Englishman. This is justice. There can be no reprieve for what Napchek has done. He will be executed as he deserves.
Oh, this is ridiculous.
It is our way. When I return to camp, he will be permitted a good meal and then hanged. My advice to you is to get back into your little airplane and fly away. Forget Karl Napchek. He is dead.
Oh, damn it, man, damn it. He can save 200 lives, don't you understand that?
Napchek death means more to my cause than the 200 lives you might or might not save.
All right, listen to me. It could be arranged for more arms to be sent to your group, like a sort of exchange for Napchek's life.
Yes, an offer like that could be of interest to me, yes. But what kind of guarantee can you give me?
At present, only my word as a gentleman.
Do you take me for a fool 10 times over? But no. Now I have thought about it, I would rather see Napchek swinging from a tree. We can steal all the arms we need from the Germans now that they are on the run and inclined to panic easily. I think it would be a good idea if you came with me to watch the execution.
Will you give me a chance to speak to Navchek?
Why not?
Very well, I'll go with you. Marshal, will you be all right until I come back?
I don't see the point in your going if they're going to top the poor chap.
Where there's life, you know.
I think it's better if the pilot goes with us, too.
Well, look, I'd rather not. You see, I don't like
But
the
I
idea.
insist.
Well, there's no point in arguing then, is there? Not with all those guns pointing at me.
Anton Kabasik has allowed me 2 minutes to talk to you before the execution.
What good will talking do now? No, Englishman, it is too late.
I was rather hoping you could tell me if there was another man we could reach to lead out the escaped prisoners.
There is no one I know of. No, it is a great tragedy.
I tried to make a deal with Anton Kabasik. I offered him more arms in exchange for your life. He refused.
I'm glad. No, it is better I die than they get extra supplies. They and their crazy communist ideals will destroy our country, and they will enslave the people to the Soviet Union.
How were you captured?
They crept up on us at night. We just returned from ambushing a German convoy. We were tired. My sentries were overcome, and, well, of course, sleeping men stand little chance.
What happened to your men?
8 killed, 3 of us captured. The rest managed to escape in the darkness.
How many?
About 60, including the women. But you can be sure Kavasik will not have it all his own way. Oh, no. Soon they will regroup, drive him back to his own district. That is the reason Kavasik wants me out of the way. Enough talking. Come out.
Oh, a couple of minutes more, please.
Impossible. It is time. My men want to take the prisoner.
I see. Goodbye, Navchek. And I'm sorry about this.
Well, the price of failure. My main regret really is that I can't help you. Goodbye, my friend.
The 2 men shook hands. Navchek calmly stood while 2 men pinioned his arms. He was then led out into the bright afternoon sunlight, to a place where the partisan band were grouped round a wide tree. A noose swung ready from one of its stoutest branches.
So that's Navchek, eh? I think my knees feel as weak as his must do.
He's a brave fellow. Pity he has to go in such an ignominious manner.
Yes.
Should have been a firing squad at least.
And with him goes the success of your mission, too.
Afraid so. All we can do now is drop arms to our chaps in the pass in the hope they can find their own way out to the sea.
The 2 Englishmen fell silent as Karl Navchek took his place under the noose. A partisan put it about his neck and pulled it tight. Then, suddenly...
Get down! Get your head down!
What the hell?
It's Navchek's group. I had a feeling they'd make a rescue bid.
He's sure to get killed, standing there with that rope around his neck.
Wait here.
It was chaos. Villagers ran screaming hither and thither, while partisans on both sides were firing wildly at each other. Dobson ran crouched, an open penknife in his hand. He reached the helpless Navchek and pulled the noose from around his neck, cut his bonds, and then both raced to where Marshall was taking cover behind a wooden shed.
Come on, quickly. We can reach the plane before the fighting stops. Come on.
No, not the plane. I need a gun to help kill off these rats.
No, we can't risk it. What if your men lose? You'll be a prisoner again.
We won't lose, my friend. Come, you can help us.
We don't even know who is on which side.
Then stay here where it is safe.
Wait, Navchek. Come back a second. This is important.
What is it? There's no time for fooling.
I know.
You've knocked the blighter cold.
Yes, come on. Help me carry him to the plane.
Right.
We can do all the protesting he likes once we're off the ground.
It was not a good thing to do.
But necessary.
it will be said that I ran away.
You'll have plenty of time to explain later.
How can I argue so high in the sky like this? I feel sick in my stomach.
You'd have felt a lot sicker swinging only 6 feet up from the branch of a tree. Am I right, Nevchik?
I'm not so sure at this moment, my friend.
Within an hour of their safe arrival in Italy, it was heard that Navchek's group had won the day and chased Kasovik's partisans back into their own territory. The following day, Karl Navchek dropped into the Montenegrin Pass and within a week brought out almost 300 Allied escapers to the shores of the Adriatic. There they were picked up by a fleet of fast boats and taken to safety in central Italy. Soon after, Karl Navchek was flown back to Yugoslavia, where he rejoined his victorious group of partisans.
Listen again next week for another unforgettable story from our Library of the Air. We present great stories from around the globe by some of the world's favourite writers in Springbok Library of the Air.
The whole circle of travellers may be reduced to the following heads: idle travellers, inquisitive travellers, lying travellers, proud travellers, vain travellers, splenetic travellers. Then follow travellers of necessity, the delinquent or felonious traveller, the unfortunate and innocent traveller, the simple traveller, and last of all, if you please, the sentimental traveller, meaning thereby myself. And the reason for my sentimental journey through France? It all happened very simply.
Disgraceful, Mr. Yorick. I repeat, disgraceful, sir.
Yes, my lord, I am of your opinion.
Absolutely no flair for these things, the English.
No sensibility, my lord. They order this matter better in France.
You have been in France?
Well, my lord, no,
You mean, sir, you have not been in France?
No, my lord, but...
Then, sir, I have nothing further to say.
Strange that 21 miles sailing, for 'tis absolutely no further from Dover to Calais, should give a man these rights. I decided to look into them, and went straight back to my lodgings, put up half a dozen shirts and a black pair of breeches, took a place on the Dover stage, and the packet sailing at 9 the next morning, by 3 I'd got sat down to my dinner upon a fricasseed chicken, sentimentally but unequivocally in France.
If Monsieur is on his travels, he will need a carriage. I shall be happy to sell him one to suit his needs.
Thank you. I've seen one in your yard which rather took my fancy. A désobligeant.
Oh, but Monsieur, a désobligeant, it's too small. There is room inside only for the one.
But I'm traveling alone. Besides, it stands there looking so sad and neglected. It stands there swinging reproaches at you every time you pass by it.
If Monsieur will excuse me, I will get the keys of the coach house. You shall see something better by far.
I am more costly by half. I shall be overreached by 3 or 4 louis d'or. Yorick, avarice, base passion. Thy hand is against every man, and every man's hand is against thee.
Heaven forbid, monsieur.
Madam, forgive me, I didn't see you. Heaven forbid, indeed. Allow me.
You have hold of my hand, monsieur.
Fair lady, this must certainly be one of Fortune's whimsical doings. To take 2 utter strangers by their hands and in one moment place them together in such a cordial situation as friendship herself could scarce have achieved for them had she projected it for a month.
And your reflection upon it shows how much she has embarrassed you by the adventure, monsieur.
Ah, madam, it is merely that I am an English philosopher. My heart knew it, but my brain couldn't let it alone. But you've been in London?
No, monsieur.
Then you must have come from Flanders?
Yes.
Perhaps from Lille?
No.
Nor Arras? Nor Cambrai? Nor Gand? Nor Brussels?
Yes, monsieur. I live in Brussels.
Ah, and you are going by the Paris road?
Yes, monsieur. As far as Amiens.
As far as Amiens. Then perhaps Madame would...
Pardonnez-moi, Madame. If Monsieur will step into the coach house, I will show him a few of my carriages.
Thank you. After you, Madame.
If Monsieur intends to travel alone, I have here a désobligeant which...
No. I must have a coach for 2, I think.
Monsieur would find a désobligeant very uncomfortable.
Yes, indeed.
Perhaps this carriage would suit Monsieur.
That will scarce hold 2. 'Tis altogether too small.
Have the goodness to step in with him, Madame. It is larger than he believes. Excuse me, Monsieur. I shall be back in a moment.
Another of Fortune's whimsical doings, monsieur. C'est bien comique.
There wants nothing to make it so but the comic use which the gallantry of a Frenchman would put it to make love the first moment and offer his person the second.
It is their forte, monsieur.
It is supposed so, at least. They have certainly got the credit of understanding more of love and making it better than any other nation upon earth. But for my own part, I think them arrant bunglers.
Indeed, monsieur?
What a want of knowledge of love-making a man betrays whoever lets the word come out of his lips till an hour or 2 at least after the time that his silence upon it becomes tormenting to a lady. A course of small, quiet attentions, not so pointed as to alarm, nor so vague as to be misunderstood, with now and then a look of kindness and a little or nothing said upon it, leaves nature for your mistress, and she fashions it to her mind.
Then I solemnly declare, monsieur, that you have been making love to me all this while.
I never finished a 10-guinea bargain so expeditiously in my life as I did in buying the carriage. And what a large volume of adventures may be grasped within this little span of life by him who interests his heart in everything that time and chance hold out to him as he journeyeth on his way. Indeed, I lost my portmanteau from behind the carriage, twice got out in the rain, and once up to my knees in dirt, to help the postilion tie it on before I got to Montreuil.
But surely Monsieur needs a servant. There is a clever young fellow here who would be very proud of the honor to serve an Englishman.
Well, let him come in, then, by all means.
Lafleur! Lafleur! This is the English gentleman who needs a servant.
If Monsieur would only give me the chance to prove myself.
Well, you suit me very well, Lafleur, I'm sure. I suppose I should inquire what you can do, but I shall find out your talents as I want them. Besides, a Frenchman can do everything. You can shave and dress a wig a little.
Oh, monsieur, I have all the disposition in the world.
It's enough for heaven, Lafleur. It ought to be enough for me. The next morning, Lafleur entered upon his employment. I delivered to him the key of my portmanteau, bid him fasten all upon the carriage, get the horses put to, and he cantered away down the road before me as happy and as perpendicular on his post horse as a prince. And in such a sort, we arrived before nightfall at Amiens.
The valet of the Comte de Lafitte has brought you this letter. It is from Madame de Comte's sister, whom you met in the coach house at Calais.
Whom I met where?
In...
Ah, yes. So he told you that, did he? Now, I wonder how he found that out now. It was a billet from the lady of the carriage in which she said she'd taken the liberty, having seen me arrive at the inn, to charge me with delivering a letter for her to a Madame Renaud, a friend of hers at Paris. There was only added that she was sorry to have no chance to wish me a bon voyage once more in person, but should I happen to find myself in Brussels...
If Monsieur will pardon the liberty...
Well, Lafleur, what is it?
I told the valet of Monsieur le Comte that you would want him to carry a reply to Madame.
Oh, but of course I'll write it immediately.
Here, pen, ink, and paper, Monsieur.
Thank you. Now, let me see. Chère Madame... No, ma chère Madame... I am... no.
1,000 apologies for the liberty, Monsieur, but I have a letter in my pocket written by the drummer in our regiment to a corporal's wife.
You have...
I dare say it would suit the occasion, Monsieur.
Then, pretty, let me see it.
La voilà, Monsieur.
Madame, I suffered most grievously, and at the same time was plunged into despair by the unlucky return of the corporal, which puts our meeting again this evening quite out of the question. But, vive la joie, all mine is thinking of you. Love is nothing without sentiment, and sentiment is still less without love. Let us not despair. Monsieur le Corporal mounts guard on Wednesday, and then it will be my turn. Chanceux et son tour. Till then, vive l'amour et vive la bagatelle. I am, madam, with the most respectful and tender sentiments, yours alone, Jacques Roch.
Monsieur thinks that the letter will serve?
Why not? It is but changing the corporal into a count, saying nothing about mounting guard next Wednesday, and the letter will be neither right nor wrong. Let me take the cream gently off it, whip it up in my own way, seal it up, and send you off with it, and tomorrow be on our way to Paris. When a man can contest the point by dint of equipage and carry all floundering before him with half a dozen lackeys and a couple of cooks, then 'tis very well in such a place as Paris. He may drive in at which end of the street he will. But if a poor prince is weak in cavalry and whose whole infantry does not exceed a single man, he had better quit the field. I own my first sensations as soon as I was left solitary and alone in my chamber at the Hotel Moderne were far from being so flattering as I had prefigured them. I walked gravely to the window in my dusty black coat, and looking through the glass saw all the world in yellow and blue and green, running at the ring of pleasure. Alas, poor Yorick, cried I, what art thou doing here? Come in.
Monsieur has been inquired after by the lieutenant police.
The deuce take it, and I know the reason. I'll be back.
He spoke about you with the innkeeper, monsieur.
It was your passport that he required, Monsieur Yorick. I told him I would ask you for it. Monsieur has a passport, of course.
A passport? Not I, faith. I left London in such a hurry it never entered my mind that we were at war with France until I was at Dover. The Comte de Liege offered me a place in his packet, and so I embarked, and I never thought more of the matter.
Monsieur has no passport. Well, then he has perhaps friends in Paris who can procure him one?
Not that I know of.
But, Monsieur Yorick, you will be sent to the Bastille. Or the Châtelet, at least.
Ah, pooh, the King of France is a good-natured soul. He'll hurt nobody.
Cela n'impose pas. You will certainly be sent to the Bastille tomorrow morning.
I'm sorry, my dear sir, but I won't hear of it.
But, monsieur, if you have no passport...
I'm sorry, the Bastille is quite out of the question.
But, monsieur, how can you say such a thing?
You know perfectly well I've taken lodgings for a month, and I'll not quit them for all the kings of France in the world.
Oh, pardi.
These English men are the most extraordinary people in the world.
I had treated the matter of my passport quite cavalierly when first the innkeeper raised it, but it needed no more than the sight of a caged starling in the passage to his courtyard to remind me how sweet a thing is liberty. "I can't get out, I can't get out," said the starling, and mechanical as the notes were, yet so true in tone were they chanted, and so apt their comment, that in one moment they overthrew all my disregard of the Bastille. "I'll go directly," said I to myself, "to the Comte de Brissac." How the Count's name occurred to me is a story in itself. I had heard it that very morning in a bookseller's shop where I'd inquired for a set of Shakespeare's works.
Bonjour, monsieur.
Good day, monsieur. I should like to buy a set of the works of Shakespeare.
Monsieur. But I have not a set of the divine Shakespeare in all the world.
Comment? But there's a set here on your counter.
Oh, monsieur, they are not mine. They were sent me only to get bound, and I am to send them back to Versailles in the morning, to the Comte de Brissac.
Does the Comte read Shakespeare, then?
Ah, monsieur, c'est un esprit fort. He loves English books. And what is more to his honor, monsieur, he loves the English, too.
You speak this so civilly that it's enough to oblige an Englishman to lay out a louis d'or or two in your shop.
Have you the Wanderings of the Heart, monsieur?
The Wanderings of the Heart? Oh, certainly, mademoiselle. In 2 volumes for 3 livres.
Thank you, monsieur. Good day.
Good day, mademoiselle. Good day, monsieur.
Though I had often thought of the pretty little fille de chambre, it had taken the threat of the Bastille to remind me of the bookseller and his patron, the Comte de Brissac. But now, when a passport seemed more important to me than all but liberty itself, the Comte came again into my mind. And on the following day, with Lafleur to escort me, I made the journey to Versailles. And with more than a few misgivings, I presented myself to the Comte de Brissac.
And to what am I indebted for this pleasure, monsieur?
Monsieur le Comte, I've come to you with none to present me because I knew that I should meet with a friend of yours in your presence who would do it for me.
A friend? Here, monsieur?
He is at your elbow now, Monsieur le Comte. It is my countryman, Shakespeare.
Ah, Shakespeare. But of course. Please sit down, monsieur. What can I do for you?
In a word, Monsieur le Comte, I've come to France in such a hurry, I've forgot my passport. I'm told that I must apply to one to a friend of some standing in Paris, and I've no such friend. Unless I can find somebody to vouch for me, I shall be sent to the Bastille. But as I happen to hear that you were an admirer of our English genius...
C'est bien dit. Well, your passport. Shakespeare is full of good things. He forgot only the punctilio of telling me your name.
My name is in Shakespeare, and if you'll pardon me, I'll show it to you. Lear, Macbeth, Hamlet. Aha. Here it is. Monsieur le Comte, me voici.
Yorick? You are Yorick, monsieur? I embrace you. Then I will write out your passport for you at once. To the lieutenant governors, mayors of the city, generals of the army. This is to bid you grant free passage to Monsieur Yorick, the King of England's jester, and his baggage.
Excuse me, Monsieur le Comte, but I'm not the King of England's jester, not even the King of Denmark's.
But you are Yorick, monsieur?
Yes, my name is Yorick.
And you make jests, monsieur?
Yes, Monsieur le Comte, I make jests. But I'm not paid for it.
Don't be poor, monsieur. So much the worse. But monsieur will get along just as well with this passport as any other. Goodbye, monsieur. And a pleasant journey.
Mr. Yorick, the King's jester. I own the triumph of obtaining a passport was not a little tarnished by the figure I cut in it. But there is nothing unmixed in this world, and while we can still afford to smile at ourselves, we shan't go far to the bad. Indeed, the courtesy of the Comte, no less than the good humor with which he had bestowed it, placed me once more in the debt of his country, which knows so well how to scatter the largesse of its genteel sentiments. And I will freely own that nothing puts me in debt to a kindness more than the free and sensible manner of its conferring. Hail, ye small courtesies of life, for smooth do ye make the road of it. Like grace and beauty, which beget inclinations to love at first sight, 'tis ye who open the door and let the stranger in.
Good day, monsieur.
Good day, madame. Would you have the goodness to tell me the way to the Hotel Moderne? I seem to have lost my way.
But of course, monsieur, most willingly.
I had given a cast with my eye into half a dozen shops as I came along the street in search of a face not likely to be disordered by such an interruption, till at last, this one hitting my fancy, I had walked in. She was working a pair of ruffles as she sat in a low chair on the far side of the shop, facing the door.
Très volontiers, most willingly, monsieur. You must turn first to your left hand, mais prenez garde, there are 2 turns. And be so good as to take the second. Then go down a little way, and you'll see a church. When you are past it, give yourself the trouble to turn directly to the right. And that will lead you to the foot of the Pont Neuf, which you must cross. And there, anyone will do himself the pleasure to show you.
I turn first to the right.
No. You turn first to the left, monsieur.
First to the left.
First to the left. But be careful to take the second to the left, and not the first.
Second to the left, madame.
Then when you have passed the church, turn to the right, monsieur. Cross the Pont Neuf, and then inquire again.
Thank you, madame. I am extremely obliged to you. I will not suppose it was the woman's beauty, notwithstanding that she was the handsomest grisette I think I ever saw. But I'd not gone 10 paces from her door before I found I'd forgot every tittle of what she had said. So looking back and seeing her still standing in the door of the shop as if to look whether I went right or not, I turned back to ask her the way once more.
Oh, is it possible?
It is very possible, madame, when a man is thinking more of a woman than of her good advice.
Wait, monsieur. The boy is taking a parcel into the same quarter, and if you will have the goodness to step inside till it is ready, he will show you the way. Will you come in and wait for him? He will be going in a moment.
And in that moment, madame, I would say something very civil to you for all these courtesies. Anyone may do a casual act of good nature, but a continuation of them shows it is a part of the temperament. And certainly, if it is the same blood which comes from the heart which descends to the extremes, I am sure you must have one of the best pulses of any woman in the world.
Oh, you had better feel it, monsieur.
Willingly, madame. Pardonnez-moi.
There is nobody but my husband, monsieur. Monsieur is so good as to give himself the trouble of feeling my pulse, Jacques.
Oh, monsieur does me too much honor. Monsieur will be so good as to excuse me. Good day, monsieur.
Good day, monsieur. Dear me, I've been quite put out of my reckonings.
And how does my pulse beat, monsieur?
With all the benignity, madame, that I expected.
Monsieur is very kind.
The parcel is ready, madame. Madame Roland's gloves.
Oh, apropos, madame, I need a couple of pair myself.
Oh, certainly, monsieur. May I measure monsieur's hand?
Oh, please do, madame.
Monsieur has a very small hand. If he will do me the goodness to try this pair. Yes? Oh, no, they are too large for monsieur. Allow me to help, monsieur. Perhaps, then, this pair would fit him better. If monsieur would be so kind. No, they are too big as well.
I must apologize for causing madame so much trouble.
Oh, but it is no trouble at all, monsieur. I am desolated that I have nothing which is quite right for monsieur. Monsieur has a very small hand.
Madame is right.
Shall I take the parcel to Madame Roland, madame?
Wait a moment, Pierre. I wish you to show this gentleman the way.
Yes, madame.
Well, madame, it's no matter. This couple of pair will suit me very well, I think.
If monsieur is really sure, that will be 5 livres, monsieur.
5 livres,
But
madame?
monsieur, do you think that I could ask a sou too much of a stranger? And a stranger whose politeness alone has done me the honor to lay himself at my mercy? Does monsieur believe me capable of that?
Faith, no, not I, madame. And if you were, you are heartily welcome. Oh, ye small courtesies of life, smooth do ye make the road of it, like grace and beauty which beget inclinations to love at first sight. 'Tis you who open the door and let the stranger out. Lefleur.
Yes, monsieur?
Pack my bags and saddle the horses at once, Lefleur.
We are leaving Paris, monsieur?
Aye, Lefleur, we are leaving Paris while we can do so in good order. And thou, great governor of nature, wherever else thy providence shall place me for the trials of my virtue, whatever is my danger, whatever my situation, let me feel the movements which rise out of it, and which belong to me as a man. And if thou govern them as a good one, I will trust the issues to thy justice, for thou hast made us, and not we ourselves.
Monsieur, perhaps, is in love?
With one princess or another, Lafleur, every moment of my life.
Vive l'amour, monsieur.
Aye, Lafleur, vive l'amour, et vive la bagatelle.
Listen again next week for another unforgettable story from our Springbok Library of the Air. We present great stories from around the globe by some of the world's favorite writers in Springbok Library of the Air.
Beware of Sikhs bearing gifts, a biblical epic with a touch of humor, written by Gregory Rogers and directed by Henry Diffenthal. And it shall be a time of great rending. Thunderbolts shall be unleashed in all Gaul's fury. Hailstones like mountains shall fall from the heavens in great drives, and there shall be lightnings and flashes in all their cascadings, as from hell's bowels. The sun shall be turned to dark, and rain shall lash like lava, and the sky overhead shall be thick blackness, and it shall be a day like none shall dread for all times.
We cast the spotlight on a land of iniquity and shame, a land where insects feast, where roadside thieves rove, where corruption rules the land and greed possesses saliva-mouthed politicians, where the poor eke out their lives in desolation of the soul. There's a twinkle in the sky as merry shepherds set foot for greener pastures, where sheep can safely graze, as the smile of blessing descends on a certain village, where a special babe is to be born. As we begin our drama, a scant handful of tattered shepherds make their way to such a village, entering a typical abode of wood and straw.
Poor shepherds we be, and humble men of the soil. From afar we have come to see the newborn.
I'm famished. I am. Many miles we've travelled. We've been following them centurion's instructions to the letter. First it's turn left at the guard hut, then right at the leper colony, then up the river 10 stadia. Oh, it's a bleeding wonder we know where we are at all. Amos, pass the ale, will you? It's in the back saddlebag.
Oh, what I'd give to be back home with the missus right now, curled up with a pot of stew by the fire. Although, to be honest and all, there is something about this village, isn't there?
But, brothers, we cannot give up now. The ancient prophecies, have ye forgotten? They have not failed us before and will not do so now.
Oh, I don't know. Oh, me for one, I'm ready to pack it all in and go back home.
Oh, but wait. What's that? Something in the air?
I told you we shouldn't have had them Lebanese prunes for dinner.
No, it's not that. Look, that glow in the distance.
You're right. Is there not something magical about this place? Could it be? Hark, the gentle lowing of cattle.
The quiet rustling of straw.
Could we be?
And hear the gentle croon of hyenas.
The galloping of wildebeest.
The rolling of lager and oxen across the veldt.
The rattling of assegais.
Brethren, do ye know what this means?
Yes. We've got the wrong bleeding Bethlehem.
Yeah, you great twit.
Greetings, King-Headed.
Sir. Greetings, O Royal Guard. Veni, Vidi, Vici, and all that.
Sir.
You have to wear those loud boots.
My trainers are all worn out, sir.
Oh, very well. What news have you?
Sir. King-Headed, sir. The prisoners are ready to be brought in, sir.
And do you have to,
sir,
say sir all the time?
Right so, sir.
Oh, very well. Bring them in.
Sir! own key, sir.
Oh, very well. Here.
Thank you, sir. Presenting first prisoner, sir.
Blimey, can't you let up with these chains, mate? The shackles on me ankles is killing me. Even the roaches in me cell get better treatment than we do. 18 months ago, I sent a letter for amnesty. 18 months?
By chain mail? Damn, I'm good. Oh, miserable peasant, I, King Herod, bring you good news of great joy. For I, ruler of this equally miserable land, have heard your heartfelt cries for reprieve.
Oh, thank you, great sir, thank you.
And I've decided to say no.
What? What? No, you can't.
Bring in prisoner number 2.
Sir.
I didn't do anything, I tell you. I'm innocent. I'm innocent.
Oh, bedraggled one. You've heard the dirty rumours, then, that your life prison sentence is compulsory?
What about it, old king?
Oh, you can leave any time you wish. Just give us 20 years' notice.
What? Oh, no, that can't be so.
After all, what sort of place would it be if convicted rapists and murderers could walk off the streets after serving only a few short months?
South Africa?
Away with you!
No, really.
Sometimes I amaze myself. Ah, here comes my secretary, Sadie.
Greetings, my lord.
Sadie, I've warned you before.
My lord?
You can't wear those long drop earrings and high heels here. You're not at South Beach in Tel Aviv, you know.
Oh, sorry, my lord.
Hey now, what news?
I don't like it, sir. I just don't like it at all.
Well, spit it out.
No, sir. I mean, I've just heard the news that some peasants are revolting.
Sadie, all peasants are revolting.
But, sire, you haven't heard the worst. They're saying you're mad.
Mad? Me? I'm not mad, and I can prove it. My discharge papers from the asylum arrived on Thursday.
Very good, my lord.
Why, I'm the gentle sort. Everyone knows that. And clever. And humble. And, why, only the other night I had John the Baptist for dinner.
Oh, most generous of you, my lord. How did he come?
On a platter in cranberry sauce with a hint of garlic. And it was only last year that I built my new deluxe multi-level department store for my beloved people.
What's it called?
Herod's.
Sir!
Yes, oh, Royal Guard. What is it now?
Sir! Some meant to see you, sir.
Who are they?
They say all. They know all. Their wisdom extends to the end of the world.
Ah, you mean they're from the Income Tax Department?
No, sir. They are mysterious wise men from the East. They claim to have important news.
Oh, bring them in, then.
Oh, my golly goodness, you know. We are being very, very lost. First we are being sent to number 1 shoppy, then we are being sent to number 2 shoppy, and how we are being ending up at that Westerly Virgin's place, I will never be knowing.
Oh, that Tanner fellow is sending us all over the place. All over. It is highly embarrassing. Bobby, it is all being your fault. Bobby? Bobby? Now where is Bobby getting to?
He stopped off at the betting shop.
Bobby! Oh, no, here he is. Bobby, where were you?
Oh, I am taking by that one wrong turning, you know. I am not being able to resist. Dixiefield Dandy is running in the 5th race at odds 1 to 6.
I will be knocking you for 6 if you are not careful.
Eh? Who exactly are you?
Oh, pardon us, wise one. Greetings and salutations. We are being 3 wise men that have been coming from a great distance. We pass laws beyond human bafflement, decrees that defy all logic, and make statements not even we can understand.
You mean you're from Parliament?
No, liege. We bring great gifts from our native land.
You mean like gold, frankincense, myrrh?
No, samosas, chili bites, and curry and rice.
Don't you mean curry and rice?
You are not being knowing what we are being putting in this stuff. Be making sure no one stands behind you for at least 48 hours afterwards, Sahib. Oh, great one. We are readers of the Star.
Well, I prefer the Times myself. It's got Garfield.
Nay, oh great sire. If you will be letting us be introducing ourselves, we three, Munsami, Haribai, and Bobby, have come from a distant kingdom. I, Munsami, am being an expert in astronomy, mathematics, and oriental bowel movements. Haribai is trained in the astrological maps and is the finest cartographer in the land.
Greetings, old age.
And Bobby is being... Well, there was spare room on the camel, you understand. We are men of the spirits who dream dreams.
Men of the spirits, all right.
We have heard of one born being to be king. It is unmistakable. We have heard he is to be born here in your land and wish to be paying homage. We ask only for a little food and drinkies before going on our way.
A child, you say? What child is this?
He is being laid to rest.
In his mother's arms?
Sleeping.
Enough of this. Born to be king, eh? Sadie, a moment.
Coming, my lord.
A babe, eh? Didn't I have them all killed?
No, sire. Those were your sons.
Didn't I ship them off to Arabia?
Your grandparents, sire.
Send them to the circus in Rome?
Your nephew.
Right. Better make it babes this time. Unlucky threes and all that, eh? Well, see to it, Sadie.
Right away, sire. I must be going now, oh great king.
A wise man I have considered. Go, seek out this child, then be sure to come back and tell me. I would like to know his whereabouts, that I too may worship him.
Very good, O wise one. We will be consulting our myriads of race cards and astrological charts. If you would be so kindly as to be letting us have a quiet room to ourselves in the palace.
Yes, of course.
You are kind, Mrs.
Yes, I would certainly like to know the whereabouts of such child. King. There'll only be one king in this land.
Goodness, this is indeed being a thankless task.
We have been looking and looking for hours. Will anything be coming of this?
Oh, yes, look, here we go. Look, I got it. Bingo. Look, full house.
Be putting down those bingo cards at once, Bobby. I told you not to be bringing them along. Now be getting back to the astrological charts like us.
Here we are being at last. We must be proceeding north.
Why are you being sent to that?
Well, why not?
But the chances of the babe being there are 1,345,679 to 1.
But the chances of my being right are also 1,345,679 to 1.
Oh, well, sounds like great logic to me. All right, let's go.
Here we are being at last. Let us hope we are being able to get some helpings in this village.
Here's being one oldie woman who may be able to be helping us. My golly, she's being strangely dressed. All those baublies and beadies and purple scarfies.
Please be excusing us. We are being a little losty. We are being looking for a babe in a manger.
I'm an old fortune teller, I am. I've seen it all. Got a good nose, I have.
Yes, my golly, and a big one, too. Could you be telling us where he is being?
Who?
The babe in the manger.
Oh, yeah, him. Well, the thing is, the gift works better when I'm holding on to something.
Oh, like, what is that?
A piece of silver, sir.
Oh, my golly goodness. I'm not having one of those. Bobby, giving this lady a piece of silver.
Oh, I am been betting my last PC at the first village.
Oh, very well. I'm having to be giving you out of our savings. Here we are being.
Top. Well, I think if you just go down that way.
Down that way?
That's right.
But that is being the way back to Jerusalem.
Oh, no. Don't go down there. Don't go down there.
No?
Try down that way.
Down that way.
That's right.
But that is being the way to Rome.
Oh, no, then don't go down there. Don't go down there.
Are you being sure you're being knowing the way to the stable?
Oh, dead sure. Dead sure. Got a good nose. Now, just a minute. No, the vision, it's going.
What?
It's go.
Oh, my golly.
No, it's no good. You're going to have to cross my palm with silver again.
Oh, my goodness, we are being running low on pieces of silver. Here we are.
Thank you. Got it now, sir. Definitely got it now.
Good.
The vision's getting stronger. Yes. Take the main road north for 100 stadia.
North, yes.
Until you come to a village inn on the right.
Yeah.
And a deserted barn.
And then?
Oh, the vision, the vision. Cross my palm with silver and I'll tell you more.
Well, this is turning out to be a very expensive holiday.
Thank you. Then off to the inn. Take the main road east for 50 stadia.
East, yes.
Till you get to a little village by a river.
By a river?
And then...
Yes.
Cross my palm with silver and I'll tell you more.
No. Are you being absolutely sure this is being necessary?
Absolutely, sir. The nose, you know. The nose knows, sir.
Oh, this is being my very last piece.
Sure. Then take the first dusty path south, 100 stadia.
100.
Then last of all, take the second road west, 50 stadia.
And that will be bringing us to the bay?
Oh, no, sir. That'll lead you back here. What? But by then there'll be someone here to tell you how to find a child. Cheerio.
Oh, waiting. Please be waiting, please. Yes. Oh, dearie.
It's been days since we saw our last village. We've been groping about in the dark for hours now.
It feels like we've been going round and round in circles. I say we stop here for a bit. My legs are like lead.
Let me set my tired bones down.
Oh, if we don't get there soon, I fear it may be too late.
Yes, the one we've travelled many miles to see may already have left. And the heavenly sight passed.
We cannot afford to let that happen. Such a sight comes seldom to these parts of the earth.
Much time and effort has been spent trying to see it.
If we miss out, all is lost. Look, brother shepherds, here's a soft spot.
Oh, good.
Let us sit ourselves down here for a goodly while.
Wait. Off my feet.
What's that in the distance? Behold, lights from the heavens.
Look at that one. I see it. Oh, heavenly sight. And what is that sound of great singing?
Could this be that which is worshipped by nations?
Yes, and on that one hallowed day of the week.
Yeah, we found it.
Behold, Ellis Park Stadium. And just in time for the big match. And Skinstead hasn't even come on yet. Season tickets, everybody!
Are you comfortable, King Herod?
Yes, Dr. Fraud. Better than the dentist's chair. You come highly recommended. I hope you can heal my neuroses.
Jawohl, Herr King. Now just tell me about your childhood. Did you have a good relationship with your mother?
I think I'm paranoid.
Why do you say that?
Someone sent me a rabbit for my birthday.
What is wrong with that? How did they send it?
Deep fried. And all this talk of the child. Those wise men gave my guards the slip. Now I'll never find him.
Indeed. Well, let me make some notes. Dear me, they don't make quill ballpoints like they used to.
I don't know why everybody hates me. You don't hate me, do you?
On the contrary, I find you to be an apt and willing patient.
Doctor, I'm touched.
Exactly. That's why you're here.
I'm not that bad, really. I mean, what's the worst I've done?
You were caught speeding in your chariot on the main motorway to Rome.
What's wrong with that?
You had your chief food taster tied to the wheels at the time. And last summer you took your favourite nephew fishing on the Nile.
And so, the boy needed a holiday.
He was the bait. So tell me, who was the last person you had executed?
My last psychiatrist. I have nothing to worry about. My kingdom will last long and true. Why, I'll build palace after palace, collect treasure after treasure, and make a name for myself. They'll still be talking about me centuries from now. But back to my problems. The truth is, Doctor, I think I'm seeing things. Why, last week, I thought I saw the ghost of a prophet I'd slain. And right now, I think I'm seeing a big angel with a sword coming to strike me down. And right now, I feel I've been cut in half. Hey, wait a minute.
And it is here that we must leave our sorry tale. Die indeed did cruel Herod, and so his tyranny was ended. And then, at last, the child was born. A child who would rule with an iron will, who would smite the people, who would reduce the land to a desert, regardless of what the Gentile nations would think, and yet who would ever be, in the eyes of all around, just a child. No, I don't mean Robert Mugabe. I mean the child wrapped in swaddling clothes and born in a manger, who would grow up to rule and reign in the hearts of millions and give good cheer to the world. Despite everything, the humble shepherds eventually found their way to the babe in arms, and their joy was complete. All, that is, until an unfortunate 179-0 drubbing by the Northern Bulls, which sent them to the couch of the court psychiatrist, who, incidentally, is now a regular participant on Felicia. The gypsy fortune-teller went on to a lucrative career as a directory inquiries operator for Telcom. Harabai gave up court astrology, but now features regularly after the 8 o'clock news as a weather forecaster. And the other wise men? What happened to the other wise men? Alas, they never did find their babe in the manger, but rest assured, all is well with them. What they did find was a source of great peace and joy. For they did at last find that glorious city of light, of pleasures carefree, luxuries eternal, where the blessed gates are always open and the streets ever paved with gold. Well, you know what that means, don't you?
Yes, we're being taken a wrong turning and ending up in Sun City. Hang on there, sold! Free beer, everyone!
In tonight's story, you heard Tommy Reed as narrator number 2, Tony Wood as narrator number 1, Roger Service as shepherd number 1, John Simpson as shepherd number 2, Tommy Reed as shepherd number 3. Cecil Northcote was the guard. Peter Gardner was King Herod. Caroline Smart was Sadie. Moon Sammy, wise man number 1, was Roger Service. Bobby, wise man number 2, was John Simpson. Harry By, wise man number 3, was Tommy Reed. The gypsy fortune teller was Caroline Smart. And the court psychiatrist was Roger Service. The play was produced and recorded by Olympia Studios in Durban and directed by Henry Diffenthal.
Listen again next week for another unforgettable story from our Springbok Library of the Air. We present great stories from around the globe by some of the world's favourite writers in Springbok Library of the Air.
Here's the bus stop. Number 35. That'll take us to Rosebery Gardens.
Are you sure that was the address?
Quite sure.
So this is Broadstairs. I can't think what Dickens sees in it. Why couldn't we have gone to Brighton?
London by the sea. I thought you wanted to change from all that seclusion and some sea air. Respite from the hurly-burly.
There is a difference, albeit a subtle one, between seclusion and solitary confinement.
You can recoup with bracing walks whilst I take the opportunity of a little quietude to work on my second symphony.
Your second symphony? Oh, yes, I was forgetting. The great composer Beethoven's heir apparent.
It will be therapy in itself to get down to some serious work after those pot boilers.
Pot boilers? Together we have brought the pleasures of comic opera to millions, and you call them pot boilers?
You delight in the hoi polloi, my dear fellow. Nobody can deny it. But at bottom you're a cultural Philistine. Hence your boorish reaction to the revival of my cantata, The Martyr of Antioch.
Your cantata?
Due to be performed this very evening in Liverpool.
Oh, hasn't Liverpool suffered enough? If I am a cultural Philistine, you, sir, are a snob. There, set Paradise Lost to music and you'll empty the stalls in 5 minutes. A sure pointer to artistic greatness, I suppose you'd say. But if that's your attitude, it butters no parsnips.
Mozart died a pauper.
Oh, you're too fond of the fruits of success for such a fate. Oh, you're quite happy to ape the great Ludwig and go mooning about the countryside with notebook and pencil, provided you can finish off the day with a glass of claret and a good cigar.
Did you pack it, by the way? The claret?
I did indeed. And I'm glad to see that your preoccupation with the sacred muse has not affected your priorities.
Here we are, number 35. Well, hail it, man. It's a request stop.
Are you sure we got the right address?
Good evening, gentlemen.
Mr. Whitner.
At your service.
I phoned your wife. We booked 2 single rooms for 2 nights.
Rooms 3 and 4, sir. First landing on the left.
Oh, thank you. Splendid.
Full board?
If you please.
Right you are, gentlemen. If you could just sign the book.
Of course.
Thank you, Dr. Sullivan. And you, sir.
Thank you.
Mr. Gilbert. I suppose everybody says it, but it is quite a coincidence, eh?
Coincidence?
Well, Gilbert, sir. Gilbert and Sullivan.
I'm afraid I don't understand.
Gilbert and Sullivan, sir. You know, the Mikado, Wild and Thing.
Oh, mere pot boilers, Mr. Wintner.
Pot boilers?
A private joke, Mr. Wintner. We'll go and get freshened up.
Oh, yes, of course, sir. Mrs. Wintner will be serving dinner in 15 minutes, if that's convenient.
Excellent, thank you. Come along, Gilbert.
Oh, I'm coming.
Come in.
Oh, could I possibly use your razor point, Sullivan? The one in my room seems to have gone fat.
Carry on, my dear fellow.
Thank you. Well, I do hope Mrs. Wintner's culinary skills are superior to her electrical arrangements. When you think our Savoy was the first theatre to be lit by electric light, the irony does not escape me, Sullivan. What on earth possessed you to reserve rooms in this doll's house?
I thought it was privacy you craved, Gilbert.
Oh, for a good dinner, Sullivan.
I suspect, however, that we're about to partake of soup of the day, a fillet of place with chipped potatoes, then fruit salad and condensed milk to follow.
Some more fruit salad, Gilbert. Condensed milk?
No, thank you.
I'll finish it then. 8 Bulwell Terrace, Gilbert. That's where I was born, in Lambeth.
Oh, sun-kissed Lambeth.
My father was getting a guinea a week, playing clarionet at the Royal Surrey.
I do hope you enjoyed your dinner, gentlemen.
Oh, Mozart to the palate, Mrs. Wintner.
Oh, I see you have your namesake's gift for a phrase, Mr. Gilbert.
Namesake?
Would you like coffee?
Thank you. White coffee, Gilbert? Please. 1 white, 1 black. Thank you.
Oh, I'll get them right away.
Preparatory to taking the air, may I inquire, Sullivan, into the present state of your finances?
I beg your pardon?
Having already footed the bill for conveyance from the station by omnibus, I am anxious to establish that my monetary commitments end there, or rather, here.
Am I a sponger? Is that the charge?
Not at all, but I think you are sometimes lacking in thrift. Didn't you tell me that the fee you received for conducting the Leeds Festival, 300 guineas, was as much as you won, or more probably lost, in one night at Monte Carlo?
I fail to see the relevance of any comparison between Monte Carlo and Broadstairs, which boasts no higher casino than an arcade of fruit machines.
Here are your coffees, gentlemen.
Mrs. Wintner, and what with the fruit machines?
Fruit machines, Doctor?
In the arcade.
Oh, it's open this evening.
Yes, life in the old town yet then.
Tomorrow the Social Democrats are holding a coffee morning.
Social Democrats? Oh, bliss was it in that dawn to be alive.
I see your moribund traditionalism in art is mirrored by a similar propensity in politics, Gilbert. The Social Democrats could herald the birth of a new era.
A new era? In which you are finally recognised as a serious composer?
I'm sure of it.
When the hapless citizens of Liverpool succumb to the genius of the martyr of Antioch, a sacred cantata,
of course.
Romantic claptrap. You, Sullivan, are haunted by the romantic as I am haunted by the ridiculous. It is the creative tension between we two which gives our partnership its dynamism. Oh, come along, my dear fellow. Let's take this lethal sea air. Social Democrats. Ha! Dictatorial. The Social Democrat.
Donald?
Yes, dear?
The new guests.
Well, Gilbert and Sullivan.
Such an odd coincidence.
Yes, it's rather extraordinary.
Did they sign the register?
Yes. It's here, on the sideboard. Look, there's their signatures.
Oh. A. Sullivan, W.S. Gilbert. I'm sure those were his initials. W.S. Gilbert and A. Sullivan. Arthur Sullivan.
It is odd. These things happen. We had a PT instructor in the army, absolute swine, George Formby.
Really?
Yes, wasn't even a relation.
Dr. Sullivan was saying his father used to play the clarionet for a guinea a week. Well, I know it sounds silly.
Well, it is silly, isn't it, love? Now, look at that barmaid in the White Hart. She's called Lily Langtree.
Yes.
Now, she's not the Lily Langtree, is she? She's just a Lily Langtree. Not that she'd thank me for pointing it out.
I bet she wouldn't.
Confound it. 2 pears and an apple.
For a serious composer, Sullivan, do you think this is your right setting? I really don't understand the mystic hold these contraptions have over you.
Huh? Would you believe it? 2 apples and a pear. Lend me a 10-penny piece as a good fellow.
Oh, you shameless bounder. Oh, here. But no more, you understand?
Thank you, Gilbert. Ho, 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 ho. 3 apples. Play out, Gilbert. My, oh, my.
And don't I get any share in this largesse, seeing that it was my investment which won the money?
Of course, Gilbert. Here's your 10 pence.
You have raised this country to the level of an art form. Why are you in such a manic festive mood, for heaven's sake?
There is something in the air, Gilbert.
Rotting seaweed, it's low tide.
Vindication is in the air. This evening, the Martyr of Antioch is revived in Liverpool, a bleak outpost of the provinces. But on Saturday, London, and we shall be there, Gilbert.
You shall be there, Sullivan.
What? I have deliberately delayed my appearance because of the dismal environs and because you loathe first nights.
Very kind of you, dear fellow, but I shall be totally out of my depth in such a rarefied atmosphere. If your star is about to rise, let me gaze wonderingly from afar, as one might glimpse the splendours of Halley's Comet. In the meantime, we can scour the morning papers tomorrow for proof of your Merseyside apotheosis. And to bring you gently to earth for just a moment, if you wish to remain solvent, I would advise you as to the prudence of considering work on another comic opera with my idea of the magic lozenge.
Magic sausage.
Donald,
Yes, dear?
it's raining.
I was aware of that, Hazel.
Such a pity for the new guests. Did they go out?
Dr. Sullivan's upstairs reading the papers. Mr. Gilbert's in the lounge.
They ate a good breakfast. Donald,
Yes, dear?
did you hear them come in last night?
No. Must have been late.
They woke me up crossing the landing. They were having a row. I don't know how you slept through it. Do you know what they were rowing about?
Is it any of our business?
A magic lozenge.
A magic lozenge?
This morning I asked the boy to pop down to Betty's and bring me back her book on Gilbert and Sullivan.
Oh, now look, dear.
And I listened to this. The magic lozenge was an idea that haunted Gilbert for years. By swallowing a lozenge, a character could be changed into another character. Sullivan disliked the notion. It was too artificial.
Oh, you dreamt it.
But it's written down here, Donald.
The row you heard last night, you dreamt it.
But I didn't know about the lozenge, Donald. How could I dream about the lozenge when I didn't know about the lozenge?
Look, what are you asking me to believe? That we've got the actual Gilbert and Sullivan on full board?
It wasn't a dream, Donald.
I'm sorry to have to say this, Hazel, but ever since you started going to those seances with the occult circle, you've gone quite cranky. Playing the Ouija board, reading tarot cards.
There's a lot in it, Donald.
It's mumbo-jumbo, Hazel, mumbo-jumbo. Now, out of me way, love. I've got to make Mr. Gilbert his coffee. Good morning, Mr. Gilbert. Coffee, sir.
Oh, that's very civil of you.
I see you have the morning papers now, sir.
Yes, my colleague had dumped them outside his room.
And how is Dr. Sullivan, sir?
Oh, still upstairs, working on his symphony.
Oh, he's a musical writer, is he?
I like that, Mr. Whitner. Dr. Sullivan, as you know, has many talents. Unfortunately, they are sometimes subsumed by delusions of grandeur. You've heard of the golden legend?
Jesse Owens, sir?
Oh, Jesse Owens. Oh, I like that, Mr. Wintner. I like that. No. The oratorio of the Golden Legend is Dr. Sullivan's R101, a vast, creaking bag of hot air that scarcely got off the ground, despite the plaudits of Queen Victoria.
What year was that, sir?
1886.
1886?
Yes, the Martyr of Antioch was written in 1880 for the Leeds Festival. Ever heard of the Martyr of Antioch?
Was that with Charlton Heston, sir?
Not if he had any sense. No, a sacred cantata for soloists, chorus and orchestra. Music by Dr. Sullivan, based on a poem by the Very Reverend Milman, Dean of St. Paul's. Can you imagine the contemporary equivalent? Music by Stephen Sondheim, book by the Bishop of Durham. And to think I was actually persuaded to collaborate in this perpetration by adapting the words, some of which were the last inflicted on the public ear at Sullivan's funeral. Brother, thou art gone before us. Oh, yes, it has been exhumed, Mr. Wintner, dug up by misguided enthusiasts calling themselves the Northern Victorian Music Society, inflicted on the wretched inhabitants of Liverpool as a vicious imposition of Victorian values, and due to arrive in Forest Hill as part of the South London Festival on Saturday evening. Oh. Well, if Dr. Sullivan was hoping for paeans of praise in this morning's papers, he has been most rudely disappointed. Not a word in any of them.
No, we couldn't get the Times, sir. There was some trouble with distribution. It may arrive later.
Oh, yes, the Times must be Dr. Sullivan's last hope. It still has a penchant for non-events. Public school soccer and real tennis.
Well, I don't know.
What's the matter, Donald?
It is a bit of an oddball, Hazel. Been going on about all sorts of things in there. The Leeds Festival in 1880, Queen Victoria.
Oh, didn't I tell you, Donald?
There must be some perfectly simple explanation. We haven't got the Gilbert and Sullivan on full board, Hazel. You can forget that.
I still don't like it, Donald. It's weird. I could ring Marjorie Hinton Smythe at the Occult Circle.
You're not ringing that nut. She'll be down with half the committee.
But they may have escaped from an institution. The police. That's it. I'll ring the police.
You'll do no such thing, Hazel. You're in a state of total panic. What sort of an advertisement is it going to be if the police start knocking at the door? I'm going to get to the bottom of this, Hazel. Just leave it to me, my dear.
Thank you very much, Barman. Well, I see the Times has changed its format, Sullivan. Used to have advertisements on the front page, remember? Oh, you remember? I thought the review...
I don't wish to discuss the review.
I see.
The work was obviously crushed, mauled and desecrated beyond description by incompetent amateurs.
But of course. So you are no doubt relieved that the company will now bring to London the second item from its repertoire, a concert performance of Ruddy Gore. And how's the symphony coming along?
Slowly.
Well, yes. What is the gestatory period for a serious composer? Like an elephant, is it?
Be careful, Gilbert. I am not in the mood.
But of course. I understand you dashed off, take a pair of sparkling eyes at 3 a.m. Mere fluff. Whereas your plebeian insomniac might content himself with a cup of cocoa. Oh, stare it in the face, Sullivan. There's nothing left of your oeuvre sérieux now. Oh, the years have sifted the chaff, and what remains? The Mikado, the gondoliers, the yeoman of the guard. Are you really at pains to become another Bernard Shaw, pacing the study carpets of eternity, fretting that he's remembered for Pygmalion and you never can tell, rather than the pretentious absurdities of back to Methuselah? Oh, where are you going?
Back to the lodgings.
But the local operatic society is doing King's Rhapsody. The music's by that talented Mr. Ivan Novello, a Welshman. Such a musical nation. I thought you'd like to go. We might get converted to
If you
republicanism.
really want to know the truth of the situation, Gilbert, it is this. You need me, I don't need you.
You haven't finished your drink.
Without a collaborator, Gilbert, you are nothing.
Pot and kettle, Sullivan. That must be the name of our next piece. Not Cox and Box, but Pot and Kettle.
Bell, book and candle.
What?
They could be some kind of manifestation. We could call in a priest with bell, book and candle. Bell, book and candle.
I wish you wouldn't keep repeating that incantation, Hazel.
They're awfully late.
Get undressed. Come to bed.
Where are they?
They went for a drink.
Gone, closing time.
Then they're walking back. They don't have to run, you know. There's no curfew. Anyway, I've got the answer.
Ah.
It's all here in today's paper. Just you listen to this. The Cowboys of West Bromwich.
They don't come from West Bromwich, Donald.
Will you listen? At weekends, Arthur Collins, accosting Clark from Birmingham, exchanges his city clothes for the chaparajos and 10-gallon hat of the Wild West. On a patch of waste ground behind an office block in West Bromwich, Arthur and his friends act out the legendary exploits of the Rio Grande.
I don't understand.
Don't you see? If it's acceptable to spend weekends playing Buffalo Bill, why not Gilbert and Sullivan?
Stop! I've never heard anything so...
Here they are.
...disingenuous, Sullivan. One might as well argue that because the mousetrap has run for 1,000,000 years, it's the greatest work in the history of the theatre.
That's taking the argument to its logical extreme. If you take any argument to its logical extreme, it becomes ipso facto illogical.
What's this with your ipso facto? Odds fish, ipso facto, my lord. In the course of my perambulations, whilst you were skulking in your room, I chanced upon the public library, wherein, at no expense, I was able to consult contemporary opinion on your reputation.
I am not interested in the arid theorizing of academics. When I note to receive the double touch of knighthood at the age of 41, I was recognized as composer of England.
So you were? Fleetingly?
Fleetingly?
Now put down that umbrella! Sullivan! Now see what you've done. Oh, quick, quick!
That does it. That finally does it.
Where are you going, Hazel?
To Marjorie Hinton Smythe. I'm not staying a moment longer in this house while they're here. They're poltergeists.
But you can't go to Marjorie Hinton Smythe. It's midnight.
You'll be funny in the morning when they've gone.
But Hazel!
I can't stand any more of it, Donald.
Now look here, Hazel. Hazel?
Oh, come back here, Sullivan. Oh, Sullivan, I beg you. Mr. Wintner, please.
In the main, I prepare to tolerate the envy and malice which characterizes your attacks on my work. But when you stare at the lost cause, you plunge too deeply, Gilbert. That song, as you well know, was written in mourning for my dear brother Frederick, and you mock it.
No, you misunderstand.
I misunderstand nothing. From now on, all contact between us must cease. What? I want no part of you, Gilbert. I stay no longer under this roof.
But you can't get back to London at this hour.
I'll get a taxi or a milk train. I left a blank check. You will settle my account.
Who on earth can imagine Sullivan on a milk train? I must apologise for this little fracas, Mr. Wintner. My partner is suffering from thwarted pretensions. It was ever his undoing. The caterwauling about his brother was merely a pretext. We will settle things in the morning.
Yes, sir.
Dr. Sullivan's essential tragedy was he was spelt out in the Times Review of the very first performance of the Golden Legend. Yes, it was not, the writer said, a work of genius in the strict sense, but it was likely to survive until our English Beethoven appeared. Well, our English Beethoven did appear, and his name was Edward Elgar. Poor old Dr. Sullivan. And so the whirligig of time, Mr. Wintner, brings in its revenges. Good morning, Mr. Wintner.
Good morning, sir.
My train leaves in half an hour.
Right, sir. I hope the breakfast was to your liking. I had to prepare it myself. Mrs. Wintner's been called away to a sick friend.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Well, here's our cheque for the total. Please apologise most profusely to the lady of the house for the damage to the pomatum pot. I do hope this will cover it.
Oh, more than adequately. Most generous, sir.
Well, I must thank you for your hospitality and for putting up with us.
Pleasure, sir.
I see that the weather has brightened now that I'm due to return to London.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes?
Before you go, could I ask you a question?
But of course, Mr. Wintner. I hope that I'm able to answer it.
Who are you, sir?
Who am I? Well, that's something in the nature of a philosophical question, Mr. Wintner, and it is a bit early in the morning. Who am I? I wish I knew. Who is anybody? I suppose I'm nothing more than the sum of my creations. Pressed to make a personal choice, I would say this. My name is John Wellington Wells. I'm a dealer in magic and spells, in blessings and curses of ever-filled purses, in prophecies, witches, and knells. Farewell, Mr. Wintner. Farewell.
Hello? Oh, Hazel, hello. Yes, they've gone. Mr. Gilbert's just left. Dr. Sullivan went last night. Yes. Marjorie Henton Smythe has put your mind at rest. She has? Oh, she did. She'd been trying to conjure creative spirits and had got her wires crossed. Well, if you want to see things in terms of echoes, vibrations and psychic empathy, that's up to you, dear. My explanation's rather more mundane. Two old gentlemen indulging their fantasies, just like you, Hazel. Anyway, they've gone. It's all over. Oh, I must go now. There's someone at the door. Pick up some French mustard, will you? We're on the last jar. All right, coming. Coming. Bed and breakfast for 3 days. Certainly, we can do that for you. Just leave the bags there. Now, let me see. Room 6 at the front of the house. A pleasant view of the sea, sir. Now, if you just sign the register, sir. Just there on the dotted line. Thank you, Mr. Mr. Ivan Novello.
Listen again next week for another unforgettable story from our Springbok Library of the Air. We present great stories from around the globe by some of the world's favourite writers in Springbok Library of the Air.
Fog on the River Hudson, darkness falling in mid-afternoon. The lights of Manhattan's man-made landscape gleam dimly through the writhing mist as a young doctor looks across the river from the balcony of Hoboken's waterfront hospital. The foghorns moan and wail as he is joined by a tall, pale, not unattractive woman of his own age.
Richard, for heaven's sake, what are you doing out here?
Oh, good evening, Doctor.
Doctor? Aren't we being very formal, Doctor?
In working hours, I thought we agreed that...
Oh, I'm sick of all that pretense. Especially after the incredibly strange way you behaved last night. And all today you've been avoiding me.
Grace, it was neither strange nor incredible. It was sensible. It is the only thing for us to do.
Just part and forget we were ever in love. Just like that, huh?
There are other things, Grace.
Only things that you imagine. Oh, but let's get inside to the restroom. You trying to catch your death of cold in this fog?
No, I've been wondering what is happening on that ship down there.
Oh? Which particular ship?
The one with the reddish superstructure, 2 piers along.
Oh, yes, I see it.
There was a fight on board a short while ago.
Well, what's so odd about a fight here? So far today, I've patched up 3 lusty brawlers.
It disturbs me when my fellow countrymen brawl amongst themselves.
Your fellow countrymen?
That ship down there is the Golden Condor. It flies the gold, blue, and red flag of the Republic of Colombia.
Oh, I'm sorry. I should have known.
Why should you know? There are scores of different flags out there.
But your flag, Richard. Perhaps my flag, too, someday.
No, it's impossible.
You keep saying that.
Grace, I am going back to Colombia, back home. My work is there, among the people of the backwoods.
But won't you understand that I want to make it my work, too? We'll be a team.
You don't know what it involves. Primitive people, full of disease, constant hardship, perhaps danger.
What of it?
Too much for a girl with your background.
You will have it that I don't know what life's all about. But here in Hoboken, we don't exactly minister to high society.
Hoboken is tough, Grace, but then all that lies a few minutes away.
All that? But what are you pointing at?
The big city. If you're exhausted or fed up, you just go across the river, and New York offers you comfort, luxury, and escape as no other city can.
So you don't really think I have the guts for pioneering work?
It is not that, Grace.
Oh, yes, it is.
Please, it's just that by nature and environment you are not cut out for the sort of life I intend to lead.
Oh, listen, darling. If we're going to try to sort this thing out, then let's get inside.
Just a minute, Grace. You see that ship now?
Hey, what's going on? People seem to be running around all over the place.
Yes, it is all very curious.
Another fight brewing, perhaps.
I can't make it out.
Pardon me, Dr. Gomez.
Yes, orderly. What is it?
Call for you in emergency. Pretty bad case.
What this time?
Another back alley fight by the look of the man, Doctor. Bad head injuries.
I'll come straight down.
Very good, Doctor.
Hoboken's quite a place, as you say, Grace.
Richard, before you go.
Look, it is no use our arguing.
No. It's not about us. It's the ship.
The ship?
Look, Richard. The fog seems to be kind of streaming from that deck house up near the bars.
That is not fog. It's smoke.
Yes. Look, flames.
So that is what all the fuss is about. The ship is on fire.
Ammunition?
Yeah, that's right, Collins. 1,200 tons of ammunition already loaded.
And more of it in crates on the pier alongside, Captain?
That's right.
Another 400 tons of small arms and high explosive.
But if that goes up, it'll flatten everything for blocks back.
Yeah, it'll be the Halifax disaster of 1917 all over again. Oh, Colin, shut that door, will you? I can't hear myself think.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, this police station's turned into a madhouse, with half the world ringing up to offer advice. Now, look, here's the area map, Lieutenant, and this is what we're doing.
The Golden Condor's here, huh?
Yeah, that's right, Pier 7. Now, the fireboats are on their way.
In this fog, they'll be feeling their way.
I know. It would have to be one of the worst fogs of the season. But meanwhile, we've got a tug coming across from here.
Jersey City?
Yeah. And then there's another from the Brooklyn Navy Yards. The Golden Condor wasn't due to sail for a couple of days, so she hasn't got enough steam to move.
You're going to try towing it clear?
Downstream.
Oh, it'll be tricky work in the fog.
Well, at least the tide's running out.
And what kind of grip has the fire got so far?
Last call I had from Geary, he said it was only oil burning on the decks.
Well, how'd it catch alight?
We don't know. But apparently the oil's been leaking from some big drums. The ammunition's mostly crated in wood. If that wood catches light...
The fireworks start?
Yeah.
Well, why the heck didn't we know it was ammunition they were loading?
It's a secret shipment for the Colombian government, disguised in crates marked as sewing machines and tinned food.
But why secret?
Collins, you know what South American politics are like. But while the fireboats and the tugs are getting onto the job, we're evacuating this whole area marked here on the map.
That's some job.
Yeah, sure it is. We've called in the civil defense crowd. As far as they're concerned, this is as serious as any atom bomb attack.
Say, you're evacuating this whole area?
Every part of it.
The hospital, too?
The hospital first. It's almost opposite Pier 7. Captain Mason.
Geary here, sir.
Oh, Geary. How are things down there now?
There's a fireboat on the job.
Good.
It loomed up out of the fog with its hoses spraying water.
And how's the fire?
Worse, Captain.
Worse?
Yes, sir. The water spread some of the burning oil.
Spread it? Great Lucifer!
It nearly got at the rifle and machine gun ammunition in hold number 2. If it gets at the high explosive shells and bombs in hold number 2, then there'll be just no chance at all.
I know. Oh, those tugs better arrive fast and get that ship clear. Otherwise, it's going to be a quick goodbye to a mighty big slice of the city of New York.
But, Richard, you can't operate. You just can't.
The man has multiple fractures of the skull. It is his only chance.
All right, it is. But you don't seem to understand what all this commotion is over. We've got orders to evacuate.
I know all about that, but...
That ship's loaded up with ammunition. It's burning. It's liable to explode any second.
And this man's liable to die any second.
Listen, if you must operate...
Yes, Grace, I must.
All right. But speak to the superintendent. He'll get you priority on an ambulance. Take this man to another hospital someplace.
He can't be moved at this stage. It'd be fatal.
Oh, but Richard...
Besides, the streets are jammed, and then there's the fog.
But who is he? What is he? Just some back alley brawler.
Apparently.
But why should you risk your life for him?
He's a human being.
Oh, Richard.
Dr. Althorpe.
That's you, Grace.
Your party's ready in the bus, Doctor.
All right, I'm coming. Richard, what won't you?
Your job is to help with the evacuation. I've got mine. Up in the theater.
But, darling, you'll be there all alone.
We interrupt this broadcast with a vital message. A ship carrying a dangerous cargo is on fire in the Hoboken area. Leave all windows open and stay clear of them. This message is...
That'll do for that. Now the whole world knows we're having trouble.
What's the latest on the tug, sir?
They ought to have the Golden Condor moving by now.
Well, one thing, Captain, we got the local population moving in quick, smart time.
Yeah. That civil defense crowd's better organized than I realized. Though there's still one character they haven't shifted.
That doctor?
Yeah. That doctor.
He must want to commit suicide.
Well, until the ship's clear, he's in the right place for it. Collins, in Halifax in 1917, whole buildings were shaved clean off the landscape.
Say, who's it he's operating on?
Oh, some unidentified seaman. He was brought in with bad head injuries.
If I was the duck, I'd leave him with him.
Me too, I guess. Maybe this will be some news now. Captain Mason.
Geary here, sir.
Go ahead, Sergeant.
The tugs have got the Golden Condor out from the pier.
Oh, we're getting someplace at last.
I don't think we are, sir.
Why not?
She seemed to swing out into the fog. She's caught on a mud bank.
A mud bank?
Caught hard, sir. She was floating pretty low in the bow. All that water the fireboats have been pouring into her.
Yes, but how far did she get?
Only about 50 yards. Directly opposite the hospital.
Caught directly opposite the hospital? And with the tide still going out? Did you hear that, Collins?
Yes, sir. I wouldn't like to be where that young doctor is right now.
An hour passes, with the Golden Condor still held fast on the mud bank, with the flames still licking over her decks and superstructure. Darkness joins the fog in making the task of the fireboats and straining tugs more difficult as a threatened metropolis waits for the tide to turn. The footsteps of the elderly Sergeant Geary ring in the deserted street on the waterfront as he goes to the police call box.
This waiting, and I'll have a head of gray hairs by midnight.
Captain Mason.
Geary reporting again, sir.
Anything fresh down there, Sergeant?
No, though if anything, the fire looks worse.
We ought to have it well under control by now, for Pete's sake.
Maybe it's the darkness showing up the flame and the red-hot metal all the brighter.
Let's hope that's all it is.
Them fellas on the fireboat are caught between the devil and the deep blue sea. The more water they pour into the ship, the lower she rides, and so the longer she's going to stay caught on the mud bank. But if they don't pour enough water...
I know. The flames get a better hold.
That's it, sir.
Well, there's nothing more we can do. You make sure you've got suitable cover close handy if she goes, Sergeant.
I have a couple of spots all lined up, sir. Don't worry.
Any sign of that young doctor at all?
None, sir. I take it he's still up there by himself operating in the hospital.
We haven't had anything of him either. Though there has been an interesting development.
There has?
Yeah. The FBI boys have grilled some of the crew members. It seems those oil drums were deliberately punctured. Then the oil set alight.
You mean sabotage?
That's right. Some Colombian extremist seems to be responsible. He got on board under cover of the fog. Someone tried to grab him, but he managed to fight free and escape.
Well, knowing what he started, he won't be anywhere near here now, and that's for sure. Yeah, but hold on, sir.
What is it now?
There's someone coming down the street. It's a young woman.
Then get her out of the street.
Yes, sir, I'll call you back. Hey there. Where do you think you're going?
To the hospital.
No, not while I'm on duty down here, you're not.
Sergeant, I'm on the hospital staff.
Yeah, so you are, eh?
I'm Dr. Althorpe.
A doctor, eh? A slip of a girl like you.
But I am. And I've got to go there.
You don't seem to be aware of what's smoldering just a hop, step, and a jump off the shore.
I know all about the ship and the ammunition. I just want to go there and persuade Dr. Gomez to leave before it's too late.
Gomez? He's the fella...
Yes, he's there operating. He's crazy to be doing it.
You're not the only one that thinks that, lady.
Sergeant, you must let me pass.
I'm sorry. My orders are that no one's to be in this area until such times as...
What's that?
Burning ammunition.
Then I'm going...
Oh, I said you're not going to the hospital. That was only a box of rifle bullets going up. If it was high explosive bombs and shells, and all the rest had gone, we'd probably be in another world by now. Oh, there's another one of them, girlie. Now get back out to the danger area before it's too late.
They've abandoned her, Captain?
That's right, Collins. Both the fireboats and the tugs.
That burning rifle ammunition frightened them off, huh?
I guess it'd frighten anyone off.
I'm not criticizing them. Don't worry about that.
Well, it seems they couldn't do much else. If they spray much more water into the ship, then they'll never shift it. So they're waiting till the tide comes in a bit.
Then going back for another try, huh?
Yeah.
And just hoping the Golden Condor doesn't sprout fiery feathers in the meantime. Well, I guess we just gotta wait. The tide's one thing no man can hurry along.
Let me go! Let me go!
What the devil's this?
Captain, this young woman.
Captain Mason, I must speak to you.
You're not speaking to anyone, lady.
That'll do, officer.
But she's forcing her way in, sir.
I said that'll do.
Oh, yes, sir. Very well, sir.
Come in, Doctor.
Thank you.
Oh, what's all this about?
I had to see you, Captain. I tried to get past the sergeant down there in the waterfront, but he wouldn't let me. I don't think he believed that I was on the hospital staff either.
Well, we haven't all had the pleasure of meeting you, Doctor. But what's the trouble?
I want to go to the hospital.
Doctor, the area's been evacuated.
I know. But I want to go there and help Dr. Gomez.
Why?
Well, for one thing, he's trying to do a difficult operation all alone. Captain, who's that?
This photograph, you mean?
Yes.
It was left here by the FBI. It's a photograph of the saboteur who's believed to have set the Golden Condor on fire.
But that's the man.
What man?
The one Dr. Gomez is operating on. You must let me get to the hospital and warn him. Richard, you've got to get away from here.
Grace, what?
This man, Richard, he deliberately set the ship on fire.
I know.
You know?
Yes. I recognized him from the start as a South American of some kind. Perhaps a fellow countryman. I've since gathered that he was involved in that fight I saw in the ship.
And you've kept operating?
That's right. And he's not out of danger yet.
But he's the very man who's caused this crisis. Yet you stay on here while right opposite there's a ship liable to explode.
I couldn't abandon him.
Why not, for heaven's sake? Doesn't he deserve to die?
He is a member of some misguided band of revolutionists. If their activities are to be uncovered, then he must be kept alive.
But that's still no reason why you should risk your life.
Perhaps it's not the real reason. Perhaps I'm trying to prove to myself that I'm equal to any call this life may make on me. But, Grace, you mustn't...
Richard, there's something wrong with your arm.
It's nothing.
There's blood on your shoulder.
Grace, listen to that.
Yes, listen, Richard. Perhaps it's your last warning. Only rifle bullets this time. But next time it might be the whole ship. You're coming with me.
I can't leave this man to die. He's close enough to death as it is.
Here, let me see your shoulder.
Grace,
Let me see it. Yes, a deep gash. How did this happen?
Just one of the hazards of trying to operate on a desperate man.
You mean he attacked you?
Yes. The anesthetic wore off. He grabbed a scalpel and came at me before he collapsed.
Richard, you'll be collapsing yourself if you don't get out of here.
I know, Grace, I know. I don't think I can carry on much longer.
Richard!
I've just checked outside, Captain. The fog's lifting, all right.
Yeah, Geary rang through.
Anything more down there?
The tugs are moving in for another try.
Well, the tide's been coming in for a good hour and a half now. They might have a chance.
They might, though I doubt it. The Golden Condor's got hundreds of tons of water aboard her now.
Yeah, that's true, sir.
But with the fog gone, the tugs will be able to see where they're going. And maybe dodge the next mudbank.
Well, what about those two at the hospital?
I asked Geary. Still no sign of either of them.
What's keeping them? The girl said she was just going in to warn this Gomez fella and bring him out.
Well, they just haven't come out, and I don't like it. I guess I was wrong to let her go back there.
Oh, she wasn't taking no for an answer.
No, she wasn't.
You know her pretty well, Captain.
Oh, I know her. Had to get a couple of statements from her around at the hospital. She treated one of the victims of that shooting about 3 weeks back.
Yeah, she seems a nice type of girl.
Yeah.
She seemed kind of sweet on this Gomez fella. Know him at all?
Slightly. Big, swarthy guy. South American, I'd say. It'll be the end of love's young dream if that ship goes up.
Well, I'm getting that way that I wish it would go and get it all over and done with. This waiting's giving me the shakes.
And so's this phone. Captain Mason.
Geary, sir.
How are the tugs making out?
They're not trying.
But I thought...
They were starting to pull on the lines, but then they moved clear again.
But why?
I guess it's the wind, sir.
The wind?
Yes, it cleared away the fog, but it started fanning the flames till they're jumping higher than ever they were before. There's another lot of that rifle and machine gun stuff going off right now.
Geary, you'd better take cover.
I'm thinking that, sir.
If those flames are getting higher, then I don't reckon it'll be long now.
Grace, where... Grace!
Everything's all right, Richard.
I passed out.
Yes, poor darling.
But everything is not all right. That was more ammunition I heard.
The ship's still burning.
How long have I been like this?
Almost 2 hours.
2 hours? And you're still here?
Yes.
Why?
Well, I started to drag you out to the elevator. I was going to get both of us away from this place, but then I realized how you'd feel when you came to and found that I left this man to die. So I sort of decided that we'd all stay.
You took over?
As best I could. He's still alive, though only just.
Grace, you...
You said you stayed on here perhaps to prove something to yourself. Maybe I was trying to prove something to myself. Or maybe to you.
You've done enough. You've got to get clear of this place.
But this man...
If anyone is going to stay, then it's going to be me.
That's the ship!
It's going up, Grace. Down flat. Down flat, there's going to be a colossal blast.
Richard. The blast.
There was no blast.
You wait here. I'm going to see what's happened.
No, Grace, I'm coming with you.
It's gone, Richard. The Golden Condor is gone.
Not quite. See? The side of the hull, just showing above the surface of the water.
That's right. But what happened?
Apparently, it just rolled off the sandbank and sank in fairly deep water. That was the rumbling we heard.
Then the danger's over.
By the way these tugs and ships are hooting, I'd say so. The city's safe now.
Richard, do you still think I must have it near me all the time?
No, Grace. Perhaps now we can sail south together, even though it won't be on the Golden Condor.
Listen again next week for another unforgettable story from our Springbok Library of the Air.